Mr. Brad Bloom, Chairman of the Board of Governors, Advocate Dov Weisglas, Chairman of the Executive Committee, Professor Ron Robin, President, Professor Gur Elroi, President-elect and Rector, Governors, Administration, faculty, friends, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon and welcome to the plenary session of the University of Haifa's 52nd Annual Board of Governors meeting. We are honored and very happy to have all of you with us this afternoon. Thank you for taking the time to travel to Haifa, especially this year. Please note that this session is also broadcasted via Zoom to governors who could not be with us in Haifa. My name is Dr. Tami Harel Ben Shachar, and I'm your host for this session. A little about myself. I'm a senior lecturer and researcher at the university's Faculty of Law. I teach philosophy of law and education law, which are also the main areas of my research, and I'm also the academic director of the legal clinics. Our clinical center has 7 outstanding clinics in which students engage in real legal cases in different areas of law: criminal law, human rights, education law, law and technology, and more. The 100 students working in the clinics deal with hundreds of cases and projects every year, all aimed at promoting human rights and access to justice, like a busy law firm, all on campus. This year, unfortunately, we have seen so many new challenges to human rights in Israel, and the clinics, as always, have been the legal first responders, providing legal aid to people displaced from their homes, filing petitions to the High Court of Justice on behalf of groups whose rights have been infringed upon. For example, we are representing settlements in the north who are not officially evacuated, but who are under constant attacks, demanding the compensation schemes applied to them. I'm so very proud to be a part of this amazing project, which epitomizes the mission of our university, harnessing our excellent research and teaching to the benefit of our community here in the north, in Israel, and more generally for mankind. On a personal level, like so many of our students and faculty, I'm also the wife of a very active reservist who has been on reserve duty for over 200 days and counting, so I am diligently holding down the fort. Over the next 2 hours, we will hear from key university administration members, and once they have all delivered their reports, I will call them back to the stage, so you'll have the opportunity to ask them questions. Let's begin. This past year has been unprecedented, and we've had to deal with a situation we've never had to face. We've faced loss, turmoil, fear, and sadness. However, as a university, we've shown great resilience, and that has provided many of us with hope. To share some of our experiences in the past year, we've prepared a video which we'll now watch together.
The past year has been unprecedented. A year that changed all of us for years to come. It was a year of rebirth, a year of astounding peaks and heartbreaking sorrow. A year where we fought, lost family and friends, yet in every moment, our hearts remained with the hostages being held in Gaza. This challenging year has also tested and proven our resilience as a community. We return to the classrooms together with mutual respect and tolerance, to remember and to remind others that we are the architects of the future, and we will be the ones who shape our own destiny. This is the story of the past year. And then the war began. "45 members of the university community were either murdered on October the 7th or died in battle. 5 were taken hostage into Gaza. The body of Inbar Heyman, Zichronah Livracha, is still being held by Hamas. 1,500 students and 42 faculty were called to emergency reserve duty. Together with the entire Israeli society, we rallied to help our country and fight for our home. Thanks to donations from university friends and supporters in Israel and around the world, we assisted our soldiers in the front lines. Our researchers helped those who witnessed the horrors firsthand, and we have not forgotten for a moment that all our hostages have to come back home. We opened the academic year together, Jews and Arabs. Despite anticipated fears and worries, we've demonstrated that the community we established over the years is strong and resilient. We've demonstrated that our values are true and just. We are united, and together we will continue to proudly march forward.
It's been a whirlwind, and we are all still reeling. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm privileged to call to the stage Advocate Dov Weisglas, the chairman of the university's executive committee, to address us this afternoon.
Good afternoon, friends and distinguished guests. First of all, thank you very much for coming, for being with us. Your attention, your support always has been very important, but specifically nowadays, given what we just have seen. This country faces now the most difficult moment of its life since its foundation. And leaving aside now the pains, the horrifying events that we have seen, and focus on higher education, what we are in charge. According to the analysis of Bank of Israel, so far, the State of Israel had spent 280 billion shekels financing these military efforts. And since this war seems to be endless, nobody knows what would be the accumulating cost. And the Israeli government in particular, but the government in general, when they discuss or when they consider budget cut, as you know, high education is always the first item on the list, since it's an investment that is yielding many years after that specific politician who taken this or other decision is gone. And specifically the current government that never cared too much over higher education or education in general. Universities in Israel primarily live on governmental budgets. We don't know what's going to happen, but we are certain that budgetary or governmental support to higher education is going to be brutally cut. On the other edge of the same problem is the characteristics of our students. You know, we are a peripheral university. Most of our students come not from rich families. We have no idea how many of them would be able to afford learning, and therefore we expect a reduction in the number of registered students, which might cause a very substantial loss of resources. So we don't know what next year or the year after is going to bring us to, and this is why your help, your support, your attention now is critically important as never been before. So again, thank you very much for what you have done so far. Thank you for what you will do, and of course I'll take this opportunity on behalf of the Executive Committee to congratulate Professor Gur Alroey, the current rector who soon will be our president, to Professor Muna Maron, who soon will serve as our rector, and most of all to Professor Ron Rubin. Many, many thanks for many, many years of such a constructive, fruitful work in Haifa University, and for bringing the university into the position which is now. Thank you all.
Thank you, Advocate Weisglas, for everything that you do on behalf of our university. To deliver his report and deal with all fiduciary responsibilities placed before the governors, I have the great pleasure of inviting a man who has been tirelessly working on behalf of the university year-round and is always available to help, provide counsel, and be a friend. I invite Mr. Brad Bloom, Chairman of the Board of Governors, to the stage.
Since I'm covering the official part of the meeting, I have notes. Duby can speak from the heart, but I have to read a little bit, so please bear with me. Thank you, Tammy. Governors, friends, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the plenary session of the 52nd annual meeting of the Board of Governors. As Duby said, we are gathered here after a long and challenging year. Israel is at war, and the country is still reeling from the events of October 7th. But as Duby was speaking, I was thinking, if anyone was here at the second plenary session 50 years ago, I wonder what they would have said about the future of our university. We were a very small university. I don't know how many students were here. Probably hundreds, I don't know. It was only the second year of the university. It was after another surprise war with devastating impact. And to imagine that if somebody had been there and said, oh, in 50 years, we'll have a university of 18,000 students, tens of thousands of graduates, many departments in schools that are recognized around the world, they probably would have been taken out of the room very quickly as being crazy. So I would just remind us that the challenges we face, while they're new and very difficult, Israel has faced extraordinary challenges in the past, and the future still will be very, very bright because of the people in this room and throughout our campus. Our university, much like the rest of the country, has faced significant challenges. Our community, students, faculty, and staff has navigated these tumultuous times with resilience and solidarity, as you saw in the video. Today's gathering is an opportunity to acknowledge and appreciate our remarkable community that we are privileged to be a part of. Before I begin reporting on our fiduciary responsibilities and the voting results, I wish to say a few words on this year's unique crossroads. This year, amongst a period of complexity and challenges, we are marking a significant transition, as Duby said. We say goodbye to our president of the past 8 years, Professor Ron Rubin, whose leadership and vision have greatly contributed to our university's growth and success. Ron is also the catalyst of the planned Herta and Paul Amir School of Medicine, which is a game changer for the university and I would say also for the country. We are deeply grateful, Ron, for your dedication and your service. The University of Haifa, the city of Haifa, Israel, will all celebrate the seeds you have planted for decades to come. And in a personal note, I would simply add that I've enjoyed tremendously the last 5 years of our partnership together. And the words I think about at that time are partnership and joy. And it really has been a pleasure. We also welcome a new president-elect, Professor Gur El-Roi, an appointment we will ratify a little later, who will be joined by our new rector, Professor Muna Maroon, the current vice president and dean of research and a world-renowned researcher in the field of neuroscience and post-trauma. I know that both are committed to the continued development of the university, as both bring with them a wealth of experience here, a passion for excellence and innovation. Continuity in leadership these days is an extraordinary thing to have, and we're very privileged to have leadership from Gur and from Muna for years to come. So thank you both. Now, friends, I'd like to begin my report regarding all fiduciary duties and the outcome of your online votes. If you have any things you want to say to your neighbor, this would be a very good time to take that time. If you have any questions or require further clarification on any topic, you are welcome to bring them up during the designated question and answer session where I think Ron and Duby and I and some others might be on stage. But the votes were taken, I think, in advance, and we have some online voting also. Thank you to all of the governors who cast their votes, and I'll now share the results. The university budget for the 2023-24 academic year was ratified. The financial statements of the university as of September 30th, 2023 were also ratified, and the appointment of the university CPAs for the academic year 2024-2025 KPMG was approved. I also want to mention that the university's annual report of the Audit Committee, composed by the chair of the committee, Brigadier General Reserve Shimon Chefetz, was sent for your review. Thank you, Shimon, for your dedicated work throughout the year. As part of the voting form, you were asked to ratify the appointment of 6 new governors. I am proud to welcome our new governors and mention each. I think you'll be seeing the photos behind me, I hope. Anita Friedman is the chairperson of RISO. A passionate RISO volunteer since 1995, Anita has served in numerous positions in the organization, both in the United States and Israel, before being elected its top leader in 2020. Colonel Reserve Tzvika Rak is the chairman of the board of the Neri Bloomfield Haifa School of Design at VISO. He also serves as the director of the Rambam Healthcare campus nearby and is the director of the Yerucham Foundation. Anita and Tzvika join us on the board following the merger of VISO, which you'll hear about later this afternoon. We warmly welcome them both aboard. Advocate Chagai Siton is a managing partner of the Sper Siton Hennig Law Firm in Jerusalem. He is a board member of the Association of Israel Soldiers, a trustee of the Heck Trust, the Ammunition Hill National Memorial Site, and the Israel Museum. He also serves as the chairman of the Old Yeshuv Court Museum. Chagai is a long-term friend of the university. Tzvi Trop is the chairman of Aler Rechovet, vice chairman of Beatzmi, board member of Elbit Medical and PHI Israel, and a member of the High Investment Committee of the Technion. Tzvi has demonstrated exceptional commitment through significant contributions to our university, most notably in the strategic development of the amazing Heck Museum. We are delighted to welcome to our board and look forward to his continued contributions and insights. Welcome Anita, Chagai, Tzvika, and Tzvi. Professor Daniel Benoliel is a law professor at the university's Faculty of Law and the director of the Haifa Faculty of Law and the director of the Haifa Center of Law and Technology. He serves as legal advisor to the Zuckerman Institute, which supports academic research in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, STEM, in the U.S. and in Israel. Professor Tali Katz-Gerol is a full professor in sociology at the faculty of the Herta and Paul Amir Faculty of Social Sciences. She specializes in culture, consumption, environment, sustainability, and inequality, and currently heads the Division of Global Engagement at the University of Haifa. She will be appointed as the Vice President for Global Engagement starting from October 2024. We welcome you both to the Board of Governors. Sadly, over the past year, two of our governors have passed away. Dr. Harry Sessler, who was a long-term friend and supporter of the university. We mourn his passing and extend our condolences to his family. Dr. Sessler served as chair of the Heck Trust. He was responsible for creating many of the iconic and important landmarks on campus, chiefly the Heck Museum. Israel's Supreme Court Justice Salim Gibran was an honorary life member of the Board of Governors and exemplified the values we hold dear, values as tolerance, diversity, and respect for each other. He shall be missed, and we extend our deepest condolences to his family. Both of these individuals, distinguished individuals, were also honorary doctorate recipients and true and devoted friends of the university. May their memories be a blessing. I would also like to take this moment to mention and pay tribute to two more individuals who were University of Haifa doctorate recipients, honorary doctorate recipients who also passed away this past year. The first is the esteemed author, Sami Michiel. His literary work and advocacy for social justice have greatly influenced our society and culture. The second is Nobel Prize laureate Professor Daniel Kahneman, whose groundbreaking research in psychology and behavioral economics has influenced our understanding of human decision-making. Let us remember the remarkable achievements and the lasting legacies they leave behind. Dear friends, you will all be missed. Now let us proceed with the ratification of the appointment of a new president of the university. I think I will invite our current rector to leave the room while we vote. Professor Al-Roi, who currently serves as our rector, joined the university 20 years ago and has served in many leadership positions. Prior to becoming rector, Professor Al-Roi was dean of the Faculty of Humanities and department head. He also established the prestigious Ruderman Program for American Jewish Studies with the support of the Ruderman Family Foundation. Now I'd like to briefly go over the process of electing a new president according to our university constitution. I can say that the process, led by the chairman of the executive committee, Advocate Dov Weissglass, was extremely thorough and very well executed. I was there, so I can say that. Thank you. And beginning with the establishment of a search committee. After careful consideration of all candidates, the search committee recommended our current rector, Professor Gur Al-Roi, for the position of president. This recommendation was subsequently approved by both the executive committee and the university senate. I'll now explain the process for our ratification, which is one of the key fiduciary responsibilities the Board of Governors has. To facilitate the process, badges with white laces have been distributed to all governors. During the vote, we will ask the governors, and please only governors, to raise their hands and keep them raised until we have finished counting the votes. Additionally, there will be a Zoom vote for those governors who are participating from elsewhere. So I asked him to leave before, so I would say at this point, let us begin the voting with the little white tags people may have. If you haven't, then you can, and I think someone is tabulating over there, I believe, and counting, so just hold them up a little bit. Rotem, can we put the tags down? Okay, tags can go down, and we've got the online vote too, and then Rotem will tell me when we can proceed. What? Okay. 31, thank you. And not with tags, but if anybody is against, could you raise your hand so we can see your hand high? And I don't see any hands raised, so, or online. So we will simply proceed. I believe we have our decision. Who is going to let Gore back in? Aviva is going to? Gore will say a few words. I'm proud to say that the governors have ratified your appointment as president. Thank you. Please join us.
Thank you very much, Brad, and thank you, dear governors. It's really very special moment for me. It is great honor and a privilege to become the next president of the University of Haifa, university that has been my academic home in the past 22 years. I am excited further to develop the University of Haifa, and I will talk later about my vision and about my program in the next 4 years. So thank you very much from my bottom of my heart. Thank you.
Thank you, Gore. Mazal tov and b'hatzlacha. Ladies and gentlemen, and dear governors, thank you for your attendance and thank you for your ongoing advocacy of our university. I urge each and every one of you to get more involved in the coming years. And the 53rd meeting of the Board of Governors is scheduled for May 18th, 2025, just a little bit under a year. And so please, you'll be getting notice of that. Please put it on your calendar, and we will be looking forward to seeing you then. Finally, on behalf of the university and our Board of Governors, I certainly want to reiterate what others have said and convey our deep, deep hope for the release of all of the hostages and the return of those closest to us to our university in the near future. Thank you all.
Congratulations, Gore. I'm very proud to be the first faculty member to congratulate you on your new and important role for our university. And thank you, Mr. Bloom, for your report. The ratification of a new president means that another president has completed his term in office. This annual meeting is the last one for Professor Ron Robin as president. These have been eventful 8 years, 2 terms in office, and the university is not as it was when he began his first term. It has grown, evolved, and made great strides. To help us visualize just some of Professor Robin's contributions and achievements for the university over the past 8 years, we've prepared a short video. Let's watch it together.
Only on rare occasions does a vision, one that takes a 20,000-foot perspective, come to life. During Professor Ron Robin's tenure as president of the University of Haifa, an ambitious vision became a reality. Under his leadership, the university has become a leading institution on a global scale, a university that knows how to think locally and impact globally, a university that has proudly taken upon itself the task of crafting an Israeli society based on principles of equality and shared living.
Ron Robin was a visionary president. He had great dreams. He had always a consideration for the university first, and he fulfilled much of his agenda. It's my belief that he will go down as one of the most successful presidents the University of Haifa has ever had.
One reshaped the university vision, more linkage and connection to the environment, to the landscape, to the sea, to nature.
The top issue for Ron, as I've heard over time, has really been to be a gateway for the middle class for our students. Our students come from all backgrounds in the country. Many of them are first-generation students. And Ron has been intent on building the administrative support for those students and has done that over time.
Drawing from his vast experience as Senior Vice Provost of NYU, Professor Robin knows that an urban university should connect to the city. Faculty and students are agents of social change who can take advantage of the Haifa Biotech and Innovation Quarter as an engine for groundbreaking scientific and research collaborations. Bestowment of honorary doctorates upon President Bill Clinton, Chancellor Angela Merkel, and renowned performance artist Marina Abramovich. A festive gathering at Bellevue Palace in the presence of German President Frank-Walter Steinmeier. Groundbreaking scientific collaborations with leading research institutions in the UAE and Morocco as part of the Abraham Accords. In the past 8 years, the University of Haifa has made a name for itself on the world stage. The university needs to address the great challenges of humanity in the 21st century as an integral part of its mission, has been Professor Robin's guiding motto. With unwavering commitment to his vision, Professor Robin led a record-breaking fundraising campaign that enabled the University of Haifa to spearhead groundbreaking research, recruit outstanding faculty from Israel and abroad, and venture into new fields that are at the forefront of global research. In Professor Robin's vision, academic excellence and imparting tools for social mobility were never separate paths. Academic excellence is enhanced in an atmosphere of tolerance and diversity. Creating the new Israeli middle class will only be possible if the university is a pathbreaker. Under his leadership, the University of Haifa has embraced its commitment to all the groups in Israeli society, a beacon of democratic values, equality, and tolerance.
Ron's vision is crucial for the future of Israel. The promotion of civil society, especially in the North, especially in these fraught times, is essential. He has set an example of what university leadership is all about.
And proudly I have to state that the university became almost a national symbol for coexistence and joint life.
The most striking success he will not inaugurate, but he initiated the medical school. As a physician, I understand, I think, perhaps better than most, that a medical school can serve as the anchor of the university. Ron reactivated that image of a university covering all of the disciplines, and the medical school is a crown jewel.
Ron, over time, these past 5 years that I've worked with you, it's been an extraordinary partnership. What you have done over this period of time is extraordinarily impressive, and I am inspired by your energy, resilience, leadership, and conviction in the very bright future of our university. Thank you, Ron, for everything you have done and will continue to do as you enter your next chapter.
Thank you, Professor Robin.
Thank you, Professor Robin, for your hard work on our behalf, and I am pleased to invite you to deliver your report.
Thank you for that kind video. Some of it is even true. So I would be remiss before I present my final remarks without thanking a few people. I've had lots, and I will have lots of opportunities to thank and wish good wishes to Gul, to Muna, to, of course, to Brad and Dubi and everyone else. But I need to say a word about the division of the presidency and external affairs. This extraordinary group of professionals who have been at my side for these 8 years. And I know people think this is a rhetorical flourish when I say it takes an entire village, but it absolutely does. And this is a group that has been at my side and is basically responsible for many of our successes. And I wish I could mention every single name. I can't. But I'm going to mention two names of people who are very dear to me and have been at my side from day one. Aviva Pe'er, my chief of staff. Aviva had me at hello, as they say. And Aviva knows my every mood. I can't even say one word on the telephone before she knows exactly what's going through my mind and how she can assist me. And I just don't know how the days would have gone by without you, Aviva. I don't even know where you are in this hall. I know you're here somewhere. And the other person I have to thank from the bottom of my heart is the executive director of the division, Lebikoin. Lebikoin often refers to me as her boss, which cannot be further from the truth. Libby runs the division on a daily basis. She's a partner. She's not an underling of any type. She's been a partner in all this. But once again, I just don't know how I would have handled this without both of you and without the entire vision. Thank you. So, farewell address. They're usually quite standard. They're not much different from place to place. You know, it's a laundry list of accomplishments. We just actually saw that. And it's tearful acclaims of gratitude. You've just heard that as well. And fond farewells and wishes for the new team. But you know, this is not a time for such a speech. I can't even describe it. We're not in the midst of a crisis. We're in the midst of a polycrisis. Multiple crises, domestic and international, that are sort of cascading and coalescing and threatening to overwhelm us. And that's kind of different from anything else what we've done. So what do you do? What does a professor do in a situation like this? Well, we tell stories. And I'm going to tell you a story and maybe mention a book or two. That's what we'll be doing in the next 15 minutes. And I hope it will offer a glimmer of hope and will explain the place of the university within this context. But let's begin with the story. So this is 2008, when I was still employed by NYU, and it was 1 a.m. in the morning, and I stumbled onto an Emirates flight from Dubai, leaving for New York, hoping to doze off before takeoff, and then only to be confronted by the nightmare of every frequent flyer, the talkative seatmate. And there I was, much to my annoyance, my neighbor who would just not shut up. He was driven by a mission, and he had every intention of sharing that mission with me over the course of a 14-hour flight. Truth be told, after a few minutes, I actually perked up, and we talked the whole way. So it turned out that my seatmate was a man by the name of Rafiq Habib, who was the head of an organization called the House of Habib, basically the wealthiest family in Pakistan. And he had set himself the goal of transforming Pakistan from a benighted Islamic republic into a shining, modern and democratic country. And strangely, the tool of his choice for such a lofty mission was to establish a secular liberal arts university in Karachi as an engine for change in this quite grim society. This is somewhat of an unusual choice for such a hard-nosed businessman as Rafiq Habib, who was the type of man who, you know, sells snow to Siberians or sand to Saudis. But upon hearing about my role in NYU, he employed all his faculties of persuasion, and he enlisted me onto the board of this university in Pakistan. And before I knew exactly what happened, my wife and I found ourselves standing in the airport in Karachi, of all places, in front of a very severe-looking immigration official who examined our passports like it was a piece of treif or something, held them up like this. I had a South African passport, and he looked at my South African passport and he said, he looked at the place of birth and he said, it's written here that you are born in ISR. What is ISR? I'm very proud of myself. I said, don't you know, that's a province in South Africa. Somewhat appeased, he turned to my wife's German passport. There, the place of birth is listed as Hadera, of all places. Now we was totally confused. Where in the world is Hadera? She said, and my wife was sitting here in the audience, Libby, she said, oh, you know, it's a village near Bonn. How don't you know that? And so that passed, and we entered Pakistan, and we went there several times, and that college flourished. It was a wonderful co-ed student body. It was saturated with Western values. The curriculum was great, but despite all that, the project failed. And like similar projects in Pakistan, like Aga Khan University, it did not institute any meaningful change. Now, the case of Pakistan weighs heavily on my mind because of, despite a very promising start in 1948, that country lost its mission. And today is a nation in name only. Its population has no common agenda of any kind. And I asked myself, why was Rafiq Habib so adamant about changing this by establishing a university? How would a university change Pakistan? And can we succeed where he failed? But in order to answer that question, I think we first and foremost need to understand how a functioning, robust state actually is created. What is the secret sauce? I hid a book here somewhere. There it is. Peasants into Frenchmen, written by Eugene Weber. I don't know if Sharon ever came across him, a UCLA professor of history, who wrote one of the most important books on how nations are formed. It's a historical study of the creation of modern France. It may surprise you to know that 100 years after the French Revolution, there was no France. There was no unified France. France was a collection of rural areas, each one speaking a different patois, with very limited connections between villages and a rift between urban areas and rural areas. And only by the beginning of the 20th century, just in time for World War I, did the modern French nation come into being, as we know it. How did this happen? How did this region, this country of distended regions become a country? So according to Weber, this mighty task was accomplished primarily by two factors. The first was universal military conscription, and the other one was a uniform school system. Think about that for a moment. Peasant society that had continued to follow timeless traditions long after the French Revolution was transformed by the unifying mechanism of schools and military service, both in a very similar manner erased differences, the many subcultures in France, and created one nation. In schools and in the military, regional dialects gave way to standardized French, and a unified version of French history became the common denominator. Basically, France was created by a bunch of bureaucrats who conveyed a very selective version of French history and onto its rural population. And they used the school system and regimented life of military service to create and instill a sense of nation that attracted the largest common denominator. What we learn from this case is that robust nations materialize when, despite social inequities, ethnic differences, and other rifts, a central authority uses the power at its disposal to enforce a common narrative and values that attract the largest common denominator. So we all know the opening line from Anna Karenina. Here's my version of the opening line from Anna Karenina. All happy nations are alike. Each unhappy nation is unhappy in its own way. To which category do we belong? So, when we look at the foundations of the State of Israel, I think we were on the verge of becoming a very happy nation, and we were for quite a number of years. Zionism provided the common denominator for most Jews. That incredible document, the Declaration of Independence, added important amendments, in particular the equality under the law and the rights of minorities that we associate with Western-style democracies. And it looked like in the early years that we were a shining example of a modern democratic state. The state controlled the media. The multiple communities of newcomers who came to Israel would absorb the values through the school system, and the common ground of universal military service would provide another common denominator, and the Declaration of Independence would enshrine the rights of minorities and would allow minorities to find their place in this narrative. So what went wrong? From the vantage point of historical perspective, our founding fathers and one founding mother, there was one founding mother, that was Golda Meir, took one step too many, seeking to produce a political system to appease everyone. They agreed to two fateful compromises. Instead of one school system, they agreed to 5 school systems, each preaching a different narrative. And in order to include ultra-Orthodox and perhaps Arabs in the fold, they waived the provision of universal military service. And we see now the results of that. Instead of one robust nation, we have become a nation of nations. With diminishing intercourse and empathy among ourselves, we're ignorant of each other's habits, thoughts, and feelings. We're not even governed by the same laws. At times, I feel like we're dwellers of a different planet. So, for obvious political reasons, this is not going to change that situation. There will be no one school system or universal military service. How do we, under these situations, create a narrative and circumstances that all can endorse? I'll return a moment to Rafiq Habib, our Pakistani friend, who believed that he could bypass the lack of school system and military service through higher education. He was right. It's possible to do, but he missed one very important ingredient, one component, which I'll touch on later. But I would like to argue, and I will provide proof, that there is a Haifa experiment for creating a functional Israeli society We have figured out how to embrace a common denominator that it's larger than its divisive parts. But before accomplishing that mission, we had to have all the parts, and I think we're well on the way. In 2016, when I assumed the role of president, I made the case that we had to enlarge our basis and move away from becoming a small liberal arts college and becoming a comprehensive university. We would not thrive without engineering and medicine. Today, as far as medicine is concerned, I think we can say mission accomplished, and I know that the president-elect is thinking very hard about engineering as well. But in 2016, I used a word which I think explains what I was trying to do. I made the case that we were not a university, but we were a multiversity. That was a more accurate reflection of our institutional DNA than just calling us a university. On a purely technical level, I argued that instead of one campus, we should have multiple sites where each one interacts with the ecosystem. And indeed, we've carried through that promise. We are a university of mountain, city, and sea, and we are close in proximity to the three ecosystems which are so important for us. But multiple campuses had another strategic goal. By virtue of building a campus near transportation, near a railway station, and placing most of our attractive fields down there, we sought to attract students from all over the country and therefore be a multiversity by being national. This is still a work in progress, truth be told, but my point is that a multiversity cannot be regional. It has to attract students and faculty from all walks of life and from everywhere. We're a multiversity because we also have multiple missions. First and foremost, we're a research university. There's no doubt about that. But we also have a social mission, which is to create shared values that eclipse our differences and create fundamental shared values. We are a multiversity because every group in Israeli society is represented on our campus, and we are militant proponents of a narrative that seeks to accommodate everyone. This is the Haifa experience. And the Haifa experience is about expanding the middle class. And we promote social mobility for the multitude of communities that make up Israeli society. We believe in a meritocracy. We are blind to everything except talent. It is not who you are, but what you are. We are a university of shared society. We have cracked the code, and I can prove it to you. Let me offer you proof of concept, so that you not think I'm just making up stuff. Let me offer you a few examples. In the front row sits Professor Muna Maroon, who grew up in a village nearby, if I may say, whose parents had a very minimal education. Muna, as you know, I don't have to tell you this, is a renowned neuroscientist, all her degrees from Haifa, and she will be the next rector, the first Arab in Israel to achieve this role. Let us travel a moment to Kiryat Shmona, the embattled town of Kiryat Shmona. The former Minister of Education and current member of Knesset, Yifat Shasha Biton, an outstanding Minister of Education, she grew up there. She got all 3 degrees from the University of Haifa, and we know that she will be a major political figure in the future. The mayor of Kiryat Shmona, Avichai Stern, who lost his aunt and baby sister to a terror attack in 1974, the youngest mayor ever to be elected in Israel. And I can go on and on and on with these examples. There are many to prove that what we do here creates a new middle class. Perhaps you don't like stories. Perhaps you prefer statistics. So 50% of our students are first generation in academia. That's amazing. But 50% of our students also hail from the lower 4 percentiles of the Bureau of Statistics socioeconomic scale. Those are amazing statistics. Why will we succeed where the Karachi experience failed? I think it has a lot to do with the fact that this country has a very robust backbone of professional middle-class people. It's a functioning professional middle class which seeks to expand itself by investing in talent. They don't care, once again, who you are, but what we are. And we at the university provide the gateway for creating those opportunities for our students. That crucial element didn't exist in the Karachi experience. But there's another reason for our success. We are driven by an internal, unique Haifa characteristic that I haven't seen in other universities, and it's been mentioned many times today. So let me just say a word about universities in general. All universities, the driving force for change in all universities, whether it's in Karachi or Kalamazoo, is doubt. Doubt is the source of all creativity. It allows us to think of alternative ways of seeing the world. Doubt frees us from constraint. Doubt liberates us from the belief that one has to know everything before action. And doubt is a very important component for every university. But we have here something special that doesn't exist anywhere else that I know. In addition to doubt at Haifa, we have an additional animating force, and that is hope. It's been mentioned time and time again. Think of it for a moment. Hope is kind of a miracle. It's a form of time travel. It allows you to think about something that doesn't exist and to prepare yourself to achieve that. Hope is a belief that the future will be better than the present and that you have the ability to make it happen. And that is the primary animating force here in Haifa. According to Richard Snyder, who is a psychologist and a proponent of hope theory, there is such a thing as hope theory, he said hope is not enough. The task of a university is to foster hope, but also to create pathways, workable routes to achieve hopeful goals. And by creating these pathways, we at the university also need to teach the much-needed quality of patience, which doesn't exist in Israel. Both the President-elect and I, we are historians, and we traffic in large-scale time spans rather than the present. And I really urge everyone here not to be despondent by any current event. Because here at the university named Hope, we are creating a future of a functioning society. Quality politicians, outstanding scientists, a cadre of leaders for the future, they are our students. And there is this element of hope that sets us apart from everyone else and provides, I think, a very positive message for the future. So, as I step off the bridge of this time machine and hand over the controls to the President-elect, to Gul, who will lead this effort for the next years, we urge you all to join us in this voyage. Do not be despondent by current events. Stay with us and keep the faith. Thank you all.
Toda Ron. Now, as promised, I call to the stage Professor Gur Elroi, our President-elect and Rector, to deliver his report. Gur, the stage is yours.
Good evening. I'm really excited to stand before you as President-elect shortly after the Board of Governors ratify my election as President of the university. I came to the university 22 years ago as a young historian in the Department of Israel Studies. I held many positions: head of the department, head of the School of History, founder and head of the Ruderman Program for American Jewish Studies, Dean of Humanities, and Rector. I am proud to become the 12th president of the university. It is heavy responsibility, and I am up to the challenge. The major and the most significant endeavor for the University of Haifa in the near future is the planned Herta and Paul Amir School of Medicine. I would like to take this opportunity and thank the Amir family, especially our dear friend Herta, on behalf of the entire University of Haifa for their contribution to the establishment of the school. Without their generous contribution, the medical school cannot be established. The school will not only change the face of the University of Haifa, it will also change the city of Haifa and northern Israel. It is very much a Zionist full circle moment. Paul Amir arrived in Israel, Palestine as a Holocaust survivor on a ship that carried Jewish immigrants. Later, he was one of the founders of Kibbutz Yechiam. And today, a school of medicine donated by his dear family members will provide quality healthcare to the residents of northern Israel. Being the founder of the Ruderman Program for American Jewish Studies, I continuously remind my students that the founding of the State of Israel could not have been a success without the support and assistance of the diaspora Jewry in general and American Jewry in particular. The planned medical school will advance the Faculty of Natural Sciences and collaborate with our excellent Faculty of Social Welfare and Health Sciences. Above all, we created strategic collaboration with Clalit Health Services, the largest of the healthcare providers in Israel. We are about to embark on a journey of creating the next generation of doctors in Israel. I am pleased and privileged to introduce the first dean of the medical school, Professor Chaim Bitterman, who will lead the school in the coming years. And we heard you just this morning, and thank you, Chaim, for joining our faculty members. 3 years ago, I stood here as rector in my first Board of Governors meetings and presented the sustainability vision of the university. I said that we are the largest research university in northern Israel, situated in geographical environment of mountain, city, and sea, in the heart of a unique ecological, social, economic tapestry, a symbol of excellence in teaching and interdisciplinary research in Israel and the world. The strategic plan of the University of Haifa focuses on social and environmental issues as part of its effort to improve human well-being and Israeli society. Its public commitment will be woven into the fabric of social, cultural, community, and geographic life of the resident of the State of Israel. And the University of Haifa will be the engine for the development of social, public, and business leaderships, and will promote real and day-to-day coexistence between members of all religious and domination in Israel. I stated that we are a university of mountain, city, and sea, and that we focus on issues of environment, society, and humanity. Sustainability stands upon 4 foundations: research, teaching, impact, and actions. Many faculty members are exploring and researching sustainability and already embrace the 17 Sustainable Development Goals created by the United Nations. In the past 3 years, the university has been annually climbing the in-rank clusters in the Time Higher Education Impact Ranking. Today, we are ranked in the 100 to 200 cluster, and in several SDGs, we are ranked 30 to 50 globally. For example, in SDG 5, gender equality, the University of Haifa is ranked 9th in the world. As the next president of the University of Haifa, I intend to take sustainability one step further and turn it into an overall vision of the university, of the city of Haifa, and of the northern Israel. In the next few minutes, I would like to present you my vision for that I call the U of H, the SIP, Sustainable Industrial Park. The Mount Carmel campus will develop as our main campus, and we will bring the high-tech industry to us. What is SIP? London built its own park, and we will build ours. And our uniqueness will be in the successful combination of academia and industry. I believe that one day every major city in the world will have its own sustainable industries park to support the development of new environmental, social, and health technologies. We are not the richest university in Israel. However, we are the only university in Israel that sits on land reserves that, through proper development, will connect industry to academia and will allow our graduates to successfully integrate into the labor market. In the next few minutes, I want to take you on an aerial tour of the campus and show you how the SIP at the U of H fits into our academic visions, an industrial park with STEM development at its heart. This short video will demonstrate how the changing of leadership can be done with fluidity and continuity. On the one hand, I will continue to develop Ron's vision, as you will see. And on the other, I will be developing the campus with sustainability in mind. The Sustainable Industrial Park will collaborate with the Herta and Paul Amir School of Medicine and the Faculty of Social Welfare and Health Sciences. You can see here the medical school that also changed the center of campus life. Two buildings will be erected on Eshkol Tower for fourth floor ramp according to Oscar Niemeyer historical plan. These buildings will be Haifa New Center for Sport, Cultures, and Arts. 3 buildings will be built on the side of the mountains. We will invite advanced health industries and health professional organizations to come to us. The buildings inhabited by high-tech workers will be a growth engine for the university that will ensure its economic future in the coming decades. The SAP will lead us safely into the second half of the 21st century. We will build our own amphitheater for graduation ceremonies and invite performances by Israel's top artists. In the multi-purpose building, we will build the Faculty of Natural Sciences with laboratories that draw more industry to us. The main access road on campus will be closed for traffic and turn into a pedestrian avenue with food trucks and sitting areas. On Fridays, we will host farmers and artists, and the local community will be invited to purchase their goods and enjoy our premium location. High-tech and advanced industry workers will bring prosperity and will open employment opportunities for our students during their studies. In the coming year, we will continue, Brad, to develop and strengthen the Bloom School for Graduate Studies. The school is a home for our doctoral students, and it's establishing itself as one of the leading and excellent school for research students in Israeli Academy, and I would like to thank you, Brad. I intend to continue developing the Yunus and Suraya Nazarian Library, the best academic library in the country, and I promise it will remain as such. It is the largest lab in the university, serving both researchers and students. About 3 years ago, we opened the library doors to the public through a cultural center in the library that exposes the library's treasure to the public. Since the beginning of my tenure as rector, the idea of establishing a school of design stood before my eyes. The mergers of the University of Haifa with the Vitzo Academic Center was a joint effort together with Professor Ron Robin and the CEO, Sharon Zaid. A school of design within a university is a model that sets us apart from other universities. The school is led by Professor Leah Peretz, my close partner all the way. And Leah, thank you for joining the faculty of the University of Haifa. The University of Haifa is the most diverse university in Israel, and my intention as president of the university is continue to cultivate the Jewish-Arab partnership that characterize our campus and is a model for the entire Israeli society. To meet the challenges facing the university in the coming years, the University of Haifa requires promising leadership that is committed to its success. A president cannot lead alone. He needs the best faculty members by his side, and together, only together, bring the university to new heights. I would like to introduce the University of Haifa presidential team. Rector, Professor Muna Maroon. Vice President and CEO, Mr. Sharon Zaid. Vice President for Global Engagement, Professor Tali Katz-Gero. Vice President and Dean of Research and Development, Professor Oren Gazal Eyal. Head of the Division of Innovation and Sustainability, Professor Ofer Arazi. Head of the Division for Diversity, Inclusion, and Community, Professor Arin Salame Kutsi. Vice President for Resource Development and External Relations will be announced soon. Before you is an eager, promising, and determined leadership. Together we will achieve, and together we will succeed. I would like to dedicate this slide to the department president of the university, Professor Ron Robin. Robin, not Rubin. We have many pictures together, but this one is my favorite. Both of us smiling, calm, and in between us is a crystal ball. Not many know, but this crystal ball gave us many, but many wonderful ideas that we were able to accomplish together. The secret of my success as president will be to continue what you have done during the past 8 years, Ron, and pave new paths of my own. Ron, I would like to take this opportunity to thank you on behalf of the entire University of Haifa. Please come to the stage. We have a small gift for you. We have a small gift for Ron. No, to drink. A bottle of wine, but not just any wine. A wine that was made from a Byzantine vine found by Professor Guy Bar-Oz, as a vine seed is one of his excavations. You will also receive Byzantine vine sapling, and perhaps you can make your own wine. Professor Bar-Oz was awarded 3 prestigious ERC grants. He genetically improved the seeds, nurtures and grew them, and this is the final product. Ron, you received a collector's wine bottles, a School of Archaeology special edition. The fruit of Professor Bar-Oz's labor. תודה, Ron. Thank you. Governors, thank you for your vote of confidence. I urge each and every one of you to become involved and help us step into our future. I cannot leave this stage before conveying my hope for the safe return of all our hostages. We are not whole without them. Thank you so much.
Toda Gur, and the very best of luck. Ladies and gentlemen, just this morning we celebrated the cornerstone laying of the University of Haifa's Herta and Paul Amir School of Medicine. This is a momentous achievement for the university, one that we are very proud of. One of the architects of this important school is Professor Chaim Bitterman, a gifted and experienced professor of medicine and the current scientific director of the Israel National Institute for Health Policy Research. Professor Bitterman has agreed to become the academic director of the Herta and Paul Amir School of Medicine, and it gives me great pleasure to invite him to tell you a little about the school. Professor Bitterman, the stage is yours.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here today after two inspiring lectures on lessons from history and on the vision of the university. My talk will be both short and very practical. We are going to open a new school of medicine in this university. I'm supposed to tell you how we are going to do it. So be prepared for a 10-minute talk if I succeed. Okay. The background is obvious. Israel faces a low physician ratio, projected to steadily decrease over time. The gap is forming in front of our eyes due to population growth, retirement of a large wave of immigrating physicians from the former USSR, who are now retiring, and because of the recent medical licensing reform. I won't go into a deep description of this reform, but the end result of it would be that many of the schools in which Israeli students now study medicine abroad will be discredited, so that their graduates will not be able to receive a license in this country. Meaning that we are looking at a major decrease in the number or the ratio to population of physicians. Given these circumstances, it's critically important to increase the number of medical school graduates in Israel. And this is exactly what we are going to do. Now, just one graph. It has to be scientific. It's a university here, so we need some graphs. Only one, bear with me. This is the number of medical students per 100,000 residents of Israel. Okay, this doesn't work. And you see Israel is in the prestigious lowest point. We only have about 7 medical students studying in the country per 100,000 residents. It's the lowest number within a large number of countries, both OECD and outside of the OECD. This number has to increase, and we are trying to do it. We base our plans on what I found are hidden treasures that exist in the university. This is not a surprise to you. For me, it was a surprise to find out that the university has a great number of academic assets and treasures, as I call them, some of them in the Faculty of Natural Science with broad scientific and educational offerings in basic medical sciences, and there'll be most of our teachers in the preclinical phase of our program will come from this faculty. The other one is the Faculty of Social Welfare and Health Sciences, which has been referred to this morning and at this session, with a long list of schools and other entities in nursing, physiotherapy, occupational therapy, etc., a long list. And we are working on collaborating with them to form a new type of medical graduate who will be extremely capable in interdisciplinary work with other professions. As a part for that, I learned slowly, and I don't know of all the other treasures, but I know there is an outstanding teaching and research programs in social sciences, education, and psychology, which will be integrated into our medical student training. All these academic assets were the basis for the start of the pre-medical studies program, which, if I am not wrong, has started 10 years ago. Sorry. Oh, your vision fell to the ground. Okay, I'm lifting it. Okay. And the pre-medical studies program already is very popular now, and there are already 100 students in each class. And a lot of this program are identical for what we are going to teach our students, some of it together with those students. Meaning that my task is not so tough. We just have to lean on those academic assets and add a little bit here, a little bit that, and we have a medical school. And hopefully this will happen after all the regulatory processes within a year and a half for now, meaning that we will be able to offer our 6 years program in next October of 25, not 24, 25. Hopefully this will happen, and it's the right time to do it because it's not too far away. So this will be the basis for the first 3 years of preclinical studies in the University of Haifa. And as I said, over the last decade, the university established an academic and institutional framework which is fully prepared to facilitate the immediate establishment for a medical school. And hopefully, again, it will happen within a year and a half. What about years 4 to 6, which are the clinical years? For these purposes, the University of Haifa is partnering with Clalit Health Services, the largest healthcare organization in this country that has a market share of more than 50% in the whole country, and its local market share in the northern part of the country in many locations exceeds 70%, meaning this is the healthcare organization which really takes care of the population in the northern part of the country. And we will be utilizing the existing resources both at Carmel Hospital, which belongs to Clalit, and Clarit's community facilities, including primary care, specialty clinics, home hospitalization, as well as remote medical settings at the right proportions, which we think are correct ones. We are now building a joint steering committee of the University of Haifa and Clalit Health Services that will lead the effort and will pave the way for a large variety of other possible collaborations in education, research, and innovation, not only of physicians. But I won't go into this right now. Right now, we are concentrated on building and opening a new medical school. I even dare to suggest to Clalit a rather primitive slogan, a healthcare organization that has a university. And they accepted it willingly. Yeah. Okay. So I'm capable of joining the selling department in this sales department in this university. It was accepted, and we mean it. We mean it. There is a chance of extremely high-value collaboration with this organization. Clarit's setup of teaching facilities is unique in its approach, enabling a seamless collaboration between Carmel Hospital physicians community. I worked in Carmel Hospital for 32 years. I was the chairman of medicine, and this hospital created, for many reasons, some of them good reasons, some of them bad reasons, altogether, there is a very close relationship between the hospital and the community settings that result in exceptional continuum of care across hospitals, community clinics, home medicine, and remote medicine settings, thus creating an exceptional and contemporary learning environment. In the future, Carmel Hospital is supposed to be moved to the Krayot area. When this happens, if and when, I believe it will happen, it will be a double-size and even triple-size hospital, and which will enable us to even grow further. We are starting with 55 students in the first class, and hopefully, at that time point, we'll be able to increase our class to 100 and slightly more. So this is the idea, and I managed to finish, within 8 minutes. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Bitterman, and welcome. Now, ladies and gentlemen, another strategic development we've achieved over the past year is the establishment of the University's School of Design, following the merger with the Neri Bloomfield Haifa School of Design, also known as WIZO. This is quite a milestone for us, as we are now the first Israeli university to house a dedicated School of Design. I have the pleasure of inviting the new head of the University of Haifa's School of Design, Professor Lea Peretz, a globally recognized leader in fashion design, to the podium to share more about the new school.
Hello, good afternoon. Gur, we have a solution for you, practical one. We have a School of Architecture. So all your vision can be realized within the university. Hello. I'm thrilled to present to you today the new school of Design, the NB School of Design of Haifa, of the University of Haifa. The school, just a second. The school is a merge between what used to be Vizo Academic Center, that has been for the last 5 decades a design academy affiliated with the Ministry of Education. At the end of this month, the merge will be fully accomplished. That would be a milestone in the Israeli higher education, as there is no other design school in a university in Israel. Just a second. The new design school, I have to be, okay. The new design school is comprised of 5 departments. Undergraduate programs, we have visual communication, 4 years of studies, B-design. Head of department is Dr. Ona Segev, which unfortunately couldn't join us today. She has corona. Ona has corona. And the other department is fashion design, 4 years, B-Des. Head of department, Dr. Rachel Getz Salomon. Photography and cinematography, BFA, 4 years, head of department, Mr. Eran Barak Haddad. Architecture, we have with us Dr. Dana Margalit, the head of department. She is the head of department of architecture, which is 5-year program, and also she is the head of the graduate program in learning environments design, MEDS. Okay. Now I have to do this and this together. Okay. These are some works of the students in visual communication. At the moment, we have an exhibition at the school. The school is just a few meters from the Botanica Hotel. So those who are staying at the hotel are warmly invited to see the exhibition of students' work. And we have something to show you. This is a short video made by 2 graduates of the Visual Communication Department this year, and it's about more than 100 years of history that are expressed in one building in the Ukraine. So it was sent to competitions abroad. It's a beautiful, beautiful short film. Then we move. This is another project that was done at the Visual Communication Department. It's a collaboration with the Tikutin Japanese Art Museum in Haifa, and we celebrated the Japanese Kite Festival a month ago. Just a second. Architecture. It's, as I said, it's a 5-year program, and I just wanted to show something. Yeah. Now we are in fashion design department, and I'm going to show you something that was fantastic. Today I was approached by a company that saw all this. I'll explain to you what is it. Since the events of the 7th of October, there was a much need in the army for appliances for the soldiers, textile appliances and accessories. So the fashion design department opened an emergency studio that teachers, students, and people who live in Haifa and who know how to sew joined us, and for 100 days they've been working day after day sewing appliances for the army. So it's it's something very important that was done in the fashion is not only superficial thing. Photography and cinematography. This department will open next year a center for cinematography in Talpiot Market. And it's going to be several studios and a cinema theater that will be during the day part of the studies, and in the afternoons the theater will be open to the public. So we are going to be like the vision to be part of the city, so we are going to be even more part of the city. Just a second. Okay, we have graduate program, as I said, in environment design, studies environment design, and I just want to say something now about the school. Having a design school in Haifa University enables us to shape a school which will be like no other. The school's curriculum will benefit from the coexistence of many different fields of studies in the university. We regard the university as cabinet of wonders, like the Cabinet de Curiosity of the Renaissance. Design as a discipline serves as a mediator between creativity and cultural and social needs to innovation, technology, and science. Design has a crucial role in assimilation of products, user experience, and interfaces for humanity's benefit. Nowadays, design cannot stand on its own as an isolated discipline, but rather stand at the crossroad of different practices of knowledge in order to answer human needs, to respond to zeitgeist and cultural, economical and political changes. Exposure to so many research disciplines in the university can be extremely beneficial for a design school, and on the other hand, design can offer the university student new and original ways of observation and analysis that are a result of the practice of design thinking methodology in design schools as a mindset and approach to problem solving and innovation. There are so many university faculties and staff that I would like to thank, and time is short, but I wish to express my gratitude to the university president, Professor Ron Rubin, for his commitment and involvement with making this merge happen. He used to call me a lot to solve crises. And to my colleagues, deans, heads of departments who are keen, my colleagues in the university, I mean, heads of departments who are keen to be part in creating new path collaborations and study programs. To Sharon Zaid, Vice President and CEO, to Ori Ronen, Acting President, to Ricky and Hilit, who worked with me in such dedication day and night to complete the merge. Last but not least, I wish to thank from the bottom of my heart to the true visionary, Professor Goral Roy, who contacted me 2 years ago and shared with me his dream to open a design school in the University of Haifa. I was completely taken by Gur's enthusiasm and left Shenkar after more than 20 years there and joined the university. Gur had been a driving force for me and the school. His endless support, sometimes in difficult times, when it seems that it is not going to happen, Gur has helped us holding on. Thank you. We have prepared for you, just a second. I did something wrong. We have prepared for you a short video to show you the school in the German colony, the vibrant German colony, so you will see the environment and the school itself. So enjoy. And come to visit us. Okay.
Thank you, Professor Peretz, and good luck. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for your questions. I'd like to call back to the stage Advocate Dov Weissglass, Mr. Brad Bloom, Professor Ron Robin, and Professor Gurel Roy. Okay, time for Q&A. Anyone who has questions, please raise your hand and the microphone will be brought to you. For those joining us on Zoom, you can ask your questions in the chat feature below. Yes, please. Great.
Asking wanted to know what exactly is the university doing at all of your levels, if at all, to try and combat these academic boycotts?
Thank you. First and foremost, we have now Vice President for Global Engagement, Professor Tali Katz-Gerald, who deals with that issue, I would say, almost 724. So she is the address for our faculty members who European university and even in the States boycott our colleagues. We have just sent a few hours ago a statement of the university that we're against boycott of any kind. And I think that we should very clear in that issue, and to help our faculty members whom their colleagues in Europe cancel the invitation or collaboration. And I think that we should do better. But we are very focused on that issue, and I'm quite sure that the Professor Katz-Gerald and all the team in the university will give the right response to the boycott. This is from my point of view.
I'll add just 2 words to that. First of all, this is not an isolated problem, and the university professors, the university presidents are coordinating efforts on a global scale. I will offer one other comment. A couple of universities, there are actually 4 that I can think of, 2 in the States and 2 in Europe, have singled out Haifa for the boycott. Not all Israeli universities, but Haifa. And the reason is very simple. We spoil the narrative. How can you talk about an apartheid state when you have the University of Haifa? Therefore, let's just efface it from the map and won't spoil our narrative. And this has happened as well. But rest assured that we're trying our best, both as a university and among the university presidents, to combat this. No university is an island. We are affected by things that happen on the global stage and in politics. They affect us too. And we're trying our best.
Thank you. Yes, please.
Follow up on that question, given what you just said, what can those of us in the diaspora, both members of Board of Governors and others, how can we help? And Ron, I'd love to know what those 4 universities are. Please name them so we can see what we can do in the US and in Europe in terms of really attacking them, because that is so unconscionable that University of Haifa is being not only boycotted, but singled out for the boycott. So both questions, if you're willing to name it, I'd love to go after them.
Actually, they're very close to your home. They're in the Claremont district. Yeah, Pitzer, yes. Pitzer College was the first. I forget which one of the other colleges. I'm sorry, I'm just blocking it right now, let you know. Occidental, thank you. So two universities very close to your home who went out of their way to boycott Haifa. And the other two universities I was referring to happened to be in Tallinn, Denmark? Yeah, in Denmark. Belgium is, no, I'm talking about those who singled out Haifa. Singled out Haifa. And I expect more universities to do the same. Very disappointing. But maybe a badge of pride that they had to face us, get rid of us, in order to communicate their narrative. What you can do, many of you have positions on boards of other universities. You have influence on other universities. Definitely Sharon, who asked the question, has tremendous influence at UCLA and perhaps at other places. We need to have the stage. People can decide whatever they want. They have to listen to us first. This is the main thing. I think even an axe murderer is given a chance in court to present his or her case. And that's what we want more than anything else. Don't boycott us before listening to us. Listen to us, and then make up your mind.
But altogether, the major problem is not necessarily with the United States, it's with the European Union. You know, the European Union is the largest supporter of our research efforts, primarily with the Weizmann Institute, with the Millennium, with the Iridium, with all those multi-billion euros projects. It's all in jeopardy now. With the European Union, it's sort of a collective policy. Second, we will face some tremendous problems on personal issues like sabbaticals, like joint projects, like conferences. I know, not necessarily Haifa University, but I know from friends in Tel Aviv University that the invitations that were canceled, you know, in a 24 hours notice ahead. And along those 4 minutes I had, I didn't want to go into it, but part of the problems we're going to face as this war goes on, and as I said, the end doesn't seem in the horizon, would be an increasing academic boycott, that part of it can be tackled or handled, but part of it not.
Yes, please. Oh.
Yeah, I would like to add two points. About 3 weeks ago, Professor Katzger and me returned from a very important visit in Germany. The German Association, headed by Sonja Landstein, organized a wonderful and very important visit in the German Academy. And it's very important to meet the leadership of the German Academy and, you know, the leaderships in the academia in general, face to face, and to explain them how the reality is complicated. It's not a black and white. So if you, for example, Sharon, in your position, can arrange meeting with the leadership of UCLA, it's extremely important to us. And we know what's happened in UCLA in the last months. Another thing is that sometimes maybe you need our help, because the boycott against Israel sometimes is a pure anti-Semitism. It's not only against the government policy and the war in Gaza. It's just anti-Semitism. And that sometimes I think we share forces together and to fight against it.
Thank you. We're a bit behind schedule, so this will be our last question for tonight.
Okay, my name is Sonja Landstein. I'm from Germany, and I was going to refer to what Gur just said. It's possible. It's possible. I think once there is the opportunity that you come, and the leadership comes with the present leadership, and especially with the future leadership, presenting themselves, I think there's a big chance that the University of Haifa, being such a model, can make major inroads in those who still have some ration. As you said, the anti-Semitism, the anti-Semitic people will not be convinced. For me, one of the key sentences from the University of Hamburg, for example, from your colleague Tali, was that they can learn from University of Haifa how to deal with problems of coexistence and of multiculturalism. So not too many governors are here, but I think you need to strengthen this point. You need to strengthen the idea of the board. It was lost a bit. I don't know who the members of the board are. We don't know how to connect with others. And also the Friends associations. I think they now have to be much more than ever ambassadors. It's not all just about money. It's now also about prestige and positioning the university as the model.
Thank you. Okay.
Good afternoon. First, I would like, in behalf of my city, Osfia, to thank the university that elected Professor Mona. Again, good afternoon. In behalf of my city, Osfia, I would like to thank the University of Haifa that elected Professor Mona as the rector of university. And I would like to say, following what Madame what she said about the coexisting, Osfia is the model of the coexisting in Israel, who Christian, Druze, Muslims, and Jews living together, and can be a model for everything in our life. The second remarks, I have been in the United States 2 weeks ago, and I visited students, and I saw what is the situation there. The situation is very bad, but I can suggest to the University of Haifa to take initiative to bring presidents from several universities to Haifa to see how minorities students study here, and how is the relationship between Jews and others communities who are studying together, and also to create a lot of seminars to explain the situation, how the life in Israel. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Governors, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your questions, and thank you for being with us in person and online. It was a pleasure for me to be with all of you. From this podium, on behalf of everyone gathered here, I express our sincere wish for the safe and quick return of all our hostages. Now, we ask that you proceed to the art gallery of the Unison Soraya Nazarian Library, where we will be opening an exhibition by artist Batya Shani, who will also be receiving an honorary doctorate from the university this evening. Erev Tov, good evening.